Okay, it looks like we're live here, folks. Dave's not here. Uh, he's at the. He's sick today, I guess. um, just Jesus.
Hi, Terry. Welcome to the Regulators.
Sorry about that. The whole screen when it started kind of disappeared on me, so I'm trying to find it here. Oh. Well, anyhow, uh, we're back, folks, after a bit of a hiatus. I've been sick or working, had too much to do. Same with Dave. Dave's sick today. He's got the flu. So just me and Steve Gerritzer from Steam Driven Media. How are you today, Steve?
Fat and happy, Terry. How you doing?
Same old day, same old things. Hey, there we go. I got the hangout on, Steve. When I started it, it popped away from me, and so I've been here trying to figure out where the fuck it went. Anyhow, folks, got a few good topics for you this week. Hasn't been a lot going on. That's another reason why the regulators haven't nothing to talk about, so we didn't bother with you. Anyhow, this week there are a few things, and we'll start with, it turns out that there was this anonymous browser that were using Google Ads, and I guess Google all of a sudden decided that they couldn't disguise, the location, etc., which is kind of understandable given that a lot of Google ads are based on location. So if they don't know your location, they,
Right.
But I'll tell you this much, that never stopped them from showing U.S. ads to me in Canada when I was on Frugal,
Right.
even though I was the manager of the account, and I'm looking at it and saying, how the hell am I seeing these ads? And when you call them, and I called them and called them on it, basically the rep scratched his head and said, I don't know. Read the toss. Well, I got fucking better things to do than, that's why I'm calling, bud. Anyhow, I'm sure you have something to say on this, Steve.
Little background on this. The name of the browser is Epic, and their big thing is they're kind of like Tor. They don't share any identifying information at all. So when the ads were being served, they were sending Google a cleaned IP address or a random IP address or whatever, so that it couldn't be tied to a specific computer. And this was fine. Google didn't have a problem with that for quite a while, until suddenly Google did have a problem with that and told them that they were now in violation of the new terms of service and that they were requiring proper IP address delivery in order to continue serving ads. So the browser did anything like any good hacker will do. They told Google to get stuffed and quit running the ads. And fortunately for them, some people have stepped up to a little bit of cash, and they're helping them keep going. But for the most part, how are you going to make any money if you don't play with Google's game? It's tough. I know we've got a lot of people who are trying now to distance themselves from Google as far as needing them for an income or revenue stream. But it's hard, especially when you're starting out, to not play in Google.
Well, I think anything that's based on someone else, when you're basing your business model on someone else's business, I've always had a bit of a problem with that anyhow, because you got to have control of your.
That's almost impossible to do anymore, though. It's really hard to build in a modern internet.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to not be tied to someone somehow. It's just That's the nature of the beast anymore. Look at the guys that are making the most money these days are providing services to make using other services easier to use.
Yeah.
And that's a lot easier to do than to come up with something completely totally original. You're providing, what do you want to call it, basic enhancements or improvements. The problem is you have to worry about people like Twitter who enable and disable the API on a whim, who randomly support or hinder developers on a whim, or roll a developer tool or product into their core, making the developer's product obsolete.
Yeah.
So there's definitely something to be worried about here, and I have to think that the guys at Epic weren't completely surprised that this was going to happen at some point. The way Google does go after every little bit of data they can get.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at what they've got for all you Android users on your phones. Just go to the accounts and see how much tracking's being done on you, as far as where you drive and what you're doing. It's all logged in your phone.
Yeah, but there's a lot of that going on now, though, Steve. I think that's one of the things that as the internet becomes more and more ubiquitous, right? That's going to be an issue at some point. That's my thinking, that privacy. Well, especially when you think that the younger generation basically have said, well, I don't care. Privacy, they basically said, I don't care. I don't need privacy because I ain't doing anything.
Well, it's not so much that they aren't doing anything, but the new generation coming through has a completely different view of what's important as far as privacy and what isn't. I've seen that with my nieces, where they're perfectly fine with giving up privacy.
Right. I guess that would be the difference between a 3-year-old now it starts fucking around on a computer before they're writing, probably.
Yeah.
Because you see on TV the commercials for kids, and it's give your 3-year-old this small computer. Holy Jesus.
Give them an iPad.
Yeah. Even more so is the fact that they expect one.
Yeah.
But that's another issue altogether, isn't it?
So, moving on. What do you want to talk about next? The new mobile-friendly ranking factors?
Yeah, sure. That's kind of related. There's some others too, like they've removed the carousel, etc. I think these things are all kind of related to the cleaning up of the interface, the desktop so the difference between the mobile and desktop GUI, that's how I describe it, is pretty much the same. The experience, because when people are searching, it's the repetitiveness that teaches them how to search correctly. You know what I mean, Steve?
And a lot of people are freaking out about this mobile ranking factor. And I can't imagine that your normal search rankings for desktop search are going to be affected because you don't have a mobile-friendly website. Your mobile search will certainly be effective, and it should.
It's already doing that anyhow. I think they're actually saying, here's the things that you should be looking at in case you hadn't already figured it out yourself. Right. Like using expandable menus in your in your navigation that don't really work on some mobile phones. You're reducing the usefulness of your website like that, right?
Right. But these are all basic, mobile-friendly user experience design options. Buttons instead of links. Plenty of white space around clickable objects. As somebody with old fat fingers and poor eyesight, there's nothing more frustrating than trying to click something on a web page on my phone.
because of the closeness of everything's
yeah,
speed?
yeah. I'll hit 2 or 3 buttons at the same time.
Uh, oh yeah, our big old fingers. Eh?
It tends to make if I can't move my whole phone and shake it like like I'm driving
Yeah,
a car, forget trying to do this. That's not going to happen. I'm not the target audience for mobile.
yeah.
It's,
I've been trying to. I'm
from a
doing
design
some.
point of view, it makes complete sense. One of the websites we're working on now is, big swaths of content, and instead of little tiny links to click, there's great big fat buttons that make
Yeah,
it.
your calls to action having just a link. You pretty much want to have the buttons now, eh?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm finding that. I think you have to really think about, it's almost back to where you had two separate browsers, that didn't always do the same thing. Well, it's still like that, actually, as we were talking before the show, that, the browsers still don't look the same for each one. So now you even got the third browser, which is the mobile. And it should affect your rankings simply because it affects the experience. And, Google wants to send people to the place where they're going to get the best experience, right? Because that's what they get graded on, not by how good their rankings are. Most people don't give a F how those 10 links got there. They only care that they're there.
Nope, that's it.
So in related to that also is they remove the carousel, right?
Right.
And now that I was never a fan of that on the desktop or
Right. Well, and I never really saw it that often anyway, so it wasn't affecting my search user experience one way or the other very much.
I always wondered if how much you used image search didn't come into that, right?
But
I
see,
don't use image search for at all.
I use image search all the time. I'm constantly.
Well, yeah, but we know the kind of pictures you're looking at.
No. When we're doing mock-ups and stuff, instead of going and crawling through iStock looking for a comp photo to use, we'll just go crawl Google for Google image search for our placeholders for doing mock-ups, and then once everything's approved, then we'll go look for some good paid imagery to use so that we don't have to worry about it.
Oh, that makes sense, actually.
Because iStock's website is such a it's okay, I guess, but I can find a lot faster just in Google image search.
Well, now I just want to buy the license so that I tell the clients that, right? If I don't make the image myself, I'm going to tell the client I bought it and you're paying me for it, just to remove all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've always done that. I've probably, over the years, dropped 10 or 20 grand with Getty images in various incarnations. And I'm still waiting. I still am waiting for that email that says, you didn't pay for this image. It's like, well, how the hell would you know? I've paid for damn many of them. How do you know which ones are paid and which ones aren't? Go away.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, I guess well, we can kind of go over this quickly. There was a sighting of Matt Cutts at a recent Google get-together. Now,
Was that a Google
I've
get-together?
heard a few places that he quit or retired, but, well, either way, I'm sure he doesn't need the money.
Well, no, he certainly doesn't need the money. But apparently there was a Matt Cutts sighting at Newsgeist at an event that was sponsored by Google. at least a little bit. And he was just there playing werewolf. And what are you gonna do? I don't expect him to come back. I don't see any reason why he should. It would be really unusual for somebody to take this long of a sabbatical and come back to exactly the same position they were in when they left.
Yeah, I'm thinking
And we're not talking just Google. We're talking.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking in general. I've never seen anybody in engineering or programming or anything go on sabbatical and come back to exactly the same job. They just don't do it. They're either going to move laterally in the company, which is possible but not likely considering his employee number, or they move up in the company, which is possible. Usually they just move on and go do something else.
Yeah, he also has worked with images in the past, so it might be that he wants to go back to his roots and
who knows. When you haven't gone into work every day for that long, it starts getting really hard to go back to work.
Oh, I'm sure, especially when you don't have to work.
Well, especially when you have to deal with idiots like us.
Yeah, I'm sure that's or just having that public persona, right? Like, especially when you're doing the kind of stuff he is. For example, the first time SES came to Toronto, right? I wouldn't wear a name badge. Fuck, I had SEO pros then, and I'm thinking half the guys in this room, I probably told them they couldn't join, or they didn't pass a review, or just don't like the way I look, or whatever. And someone got real snarky with me and asked me why I wasn't wearing a badge. That was, told them, well, look around you,
Badges.
If you need to ask that, you're not paying attention.
Yeah. But yeah, every wild Matt Cut sightings are fun. He's going to become like the very elusive unicorn.
Yeah. Sightings, and we'll debate whether he's still out there busting people.
We'll have a new Discovery Channel TV show instead of searching for Sasquatch. So and if he goes, yes, well, man, now I've completely forgotten the guy's name. The other guy who's been doing the Hangouts from Google. Good Lord, my brain has gone to mush.
Oh, Mr. Mueller.
Yes, Mueller. Thank you. He's going to be the new lightning rod, I think, and that'll be it.
Well, I think he's kind of been there as it is anyways. And I think on the videos that Matt was doing, I think he pretty well covered everything at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we were speaking earlier, they're always looking at different stuff. So, and changing the algorithm. Something that kind of made me laugh, and we talked about that too also earlier, Steve, was how, there's all this big comments and an article on SEO Roundtable talking about how Google isn't indexing, content in with no display in CSS. Basically.
Right, you're talking
none, right?
You're talking about like the click to expand content.
Well, I've also used it to clean up a page, like where say I had a list of results, and with each result was a bunch of info that was only interesting unless you wanted to look at that one, right? But then, too, I've also put a huge image over paragraphs of text back in the day. By the way, that didn't work back then either. So I was either ratted on, is what I think happened, or Google realized that I had an image on top of 2 paragraphs of text. Right. But as soon as I removed moved the the text down below, everything back to normal. So it's not like they've never done this before. The interesting thing, though, and why I think we'll hear, Steve, oops, I guess I'm talking to myself now because Steve just went offline. Anyhow, I was about to say that the interesting thing is that the raters guide that Google uses for their people to rate websites says stuff in those hidden elements. If it is good, they're supposed to count it as part of the primary content, right? So I'm pretty sure that we're going to have people who say, oh, look, that's wrong because, look, it's did it here. So I think it can go either way. I don't think it's either or type deal. You know what I mean, Steve? If you've got stuff that Google deems is worth having in ranking, I'm thinking that you get reviewed at some point and you get that stuff gets indexed. That's why they have raters, by the way.
Right.
What do you think of that, Steve? I'm full of shit, or
No. Sorry, I dropped out there for a minute. The cat walked across the keyboard.
Nice. Did you lock it out?
No. Yeah, I tossed it down. No. I never thought they should have been indexing the hidden content anyway. I understand why people do it from a design way, but you know, it's one step removed from cloaking, because you could, in theory, hide a lot of content with a teeny tiny click here to expand button, and suddenly you've got this content that users never see that the engines index, and becomes a whole new level of hassle.
Yeah, I think it can either be, it could be done for legitimate reasons, or it could be done for
everything can be done for legitimate reasons or for
right
crap, but you know how we are. If it can be done for crap, I'll do it for crap.
Well, okay. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but
but you know that's the way the industry runs.
Oh, okay. Well, I like to think that I put good stuff there that putting away nicely, so to make the page easier for people to understand what's going on. But that's just me. Anyhow, moving on. Google has now got this area where they're putting, I guess, like an editor's pick type deal on Google News. And guess what they did? They put sponsored content in the into that sponsored ad. Yeah, the article is on was on SEO Roundtable. Pretty interesting how this got there.
You're looking at a sponsored post from VentureBeat ending up in the news.
Yeah, that's nice. But that isn't news either, because a lot of the posts that end up in Google News from PR sites are paid. So I don't know that, again, that's absolutely new. But right. The fact that it doesn't seem like they have a really filter on for sites that do sponsored stuff that they're taken from also shows that they're totally relying on a algorithm to do the picking. And I can tell you, having gotten some Google News feeds, they ain't very picky. in general, I found you get a lot of crap from blogs that, well, I was in the payday. I was getting news on the payday loan stuff. So
Right.
back in what? Oh, I built that site in about 2010. No, before that, 2008. So it's been gathering news articles and building itself out. So I think that's kind of neat that they're doing that. And not
Right.
doing a very good job at it.
It's the nature of whatever.
Yeah.
Deborah was mentioning that she thinks it's going to be Pierre Farr and not John Mueller who's going to wind up stepping out at the shows and things like that.
Yeah, Pierre, I know, handles a lot of the technical stuff for them. Like when they were doing the he wrote a lot of the Google stuff related to when they wanted everybody to use HTTPS, right? He was the one who wrote how to do it, etc. Wisno is I think knows that guy pretty good.
Right.
Seems to put a lot of stock in what he says and whatnot. Nice to see Deborah's watching. That makes my mother and her watching so far.
And my cat.
Oh, yeah, and your cat. So on top of that, we have another Google problem when DoubleClick goes down.
Yeah.
That would affect a lot of sites.
I'm not sure that DoubleClick was the only one, though, because there was a window of time, I don't know if it was over the weekend or it must have been over the weekend, where the ads at Facebook all dropped out as well.
Oh, really? What is it?
For at least an hour. There wasn't a single ad on Facebook.
Probably DDoS, eh? Looking to extort a little bit of easy money.
I don't know. It was kind of strange. I noticed that I wasn't seeing any ads, and I thought it was just a little strange. And I saw a couple other people comment on it, and then shortly after that, the ads came back. So I'm not sure what happened there. I just thought it was kind of cool. Anytime you can get around without seeing a whole lot of ads, it makes me happy.
Well, unless you want people to see ads, then you're not quite as happy.
Yeah, I mean,
taking money off the table.
It just needs to. I think there's too much. That's all, personally.
Well, especially on some sites, not to name any, like VentureBeat or Mashable. Mashable, I don't think has ever seen an ad it didn't like.
No.
And they tried to get them all on one page.
It's kind of funny because the ads that they don't want you to run the most are the ones that work the best, which always blows my mind. Facebook's rules like that for that are hysterical because, they have the very specific rules on what kind of ads you can and can't run, and every once in a while you'll be able to slip one that they don't like through the review process, and that ad will just crush it. And then you're like, well, why shut it down? It's making a lot of money. But
yeah, I guess that's a problem with working in some industries where they watch. I remember when I was working in the for an agency, and we were working in a very regulated industry, and Google had to okay every ad we started. Didn't take them very long, but they still had to be. And that's, after the company has vetted them for, a month, seemingly.
Right.
But I guess that's been a problem on the internet with a lot of industries, pharmaceuticals and that sort of thing, especially with, the laws almost being different in almost down to the state A, Steve.
Yeah, they pretty much set the rules though at the lowest common denominator these days.
Yeah. Oh boy, went through these topics pretty fast, Steve.
No arguing. I don't know what that deal is with that. What the heck? Sorry. Get off me. Other than that, I haven't seen, nothing terribly new or exciting going on. I'm sure there is. We've had our heads down a little too long just working, which is good for business, not so good for keeping up on what's going on around the world.
We skipped over one topic because I know it's one of your favorites. The panda and penguin article. By I forget who it was. Someone over on the Moz were talking about how panda and penguin ran at the same time. This was supposedly October 24th. Big mystery. Well, panda now runs at indexing, so I have to wonder if it ever stops. Two, penguin has been run with multiple these algorithms. You had Goopla, the Payday, and Panda all run very close to one another. You also had Penguin and the Payday Loan One run very close together. That's how you know. That's how you know that these algorithms are interrelated. In other words, we've always said, Dave and I have basically said that our belief was that Goopla, or the top-heavy ads algorithm, is actually an offshoot of Panda, because we found that text above the fold, basically, algo to kind of be in Panda stuff. That if you, when it first came out, that if, there were ways to move stuff around and bring it up and seem to help. So, I think that's when SEOs try and pin down these things like that and say, oh yeah, two running at the same. A lot of times, that's just normal recourse. They're doing that stuff all the time.
Right. Suppose we could dab into social media a little bit. There's been a couple of recent kerfuffles on Twitter with the New England Patriots automatically at-replying people, and without considering that there might be people with offensive and racist names in their Twitter handles. So we won't go into that one in particular, and then Dave and Buster's, somebody there decided to post a stupid joke. I hate tacos, said no Juan ever. And people came out of the woodwork in an effort to be offended by it, but I started going through the pictures and the accounts of the people who were offended. There were no Hispanic people in there, no Mexicans in there. It was all white people. They were all upset about how offensive and racist it was, and it's like, but you're not Mexican. So
yeah, probably half of them were, social media consultants or gurus who, they're looking for you to just look sideways in a picture, and they're going to make a big deal about it because, they're the guys. They know it all, folks. They spend half their time, on Twitter trying to prove that, they are social media experts. Come on. That whole thing, I never really got it. Like, I don't. To me, Twitter has just become a place where idiots go to, you know, fucking jump all over people for, you know, like, hey, get a life. You know, if that's what you're about, then fuck. I mean, come on. Gotta be more to life than that. Like, really? Spend your time doing that? Like, where's the benefit to anybody?
Right. Anyway, other than that, since we have a third less people talking.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to make this an hour show when there's, and I can't, they disabled the questions. I guess they don't think I'm Dave, so I can't do that. But I can start this thing and do anything else I want.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Terry's new daily summit. The daily affirmation with Terry Van Horn.
There you go. I look in the mirror and tell him to fuck off.
So, anyway, so I guess we'll go ahead and wrap the show early.
Yeah, I guess not that much to talk about, and we're short a guy, like you said. Okay, I just want to say a little about the Penguin, too, that it ran. And what do you think, Steve? The consensus is that even though it ran, it didn't do much for anybody who really had to clean up.
I think like most updates, it only hit certain areas really hard. You know, there are just times where you don't see a whole lot. It's not a. It was a minor. I think if anything, it was just a minor adjustment.
Well, wasn't it only like 3% of queries were hit by?
They say that all the time anyway.
Well, I mean, but even then, like the original Panda, right? That was 11% of queries, right? So 3% is like they could probably do more by just adjusting something in local, right? Well, you know, when they go from 7 to 3 in the local pack, that probably disrupts or helps some and hurts others more than that algorithm does.
Yeah, certainly.
And, you know, basically, when are they going to run it again? Well, they're not going to tell you, folks, because you can actually run strategies based on being able to kind of tell when they're going to run these algorithms.
And they are running. There's a couple that are running right now. I've seen some really cool strategies, as we'll call them.
Yeah.
That people are currently running. As far as links go and what they're seeing and what they're getting out of them, especially in some of the more heavily policed niches like payday loans. I'm sort of surprised to see what some of them are getting away with.
Yeah, I know that there's been some discussing in the room, the dojo room, you know, that some stuff that people are saying doesn't work at all. There's someone showing lots of results using nothing but that. So
yeah, it's like playing the stock market. You gotta buy in at the right time.
Yep. Buy in and get the hell out when the cat is good.
But you know, churn and burn has always worked. It will always work, just based on the nature of indexing and how it works and how indexing works.
It's all a matter of risk and reward, isn't it? That's what it comes down to. Like any business, it's risk or reward, you know. That's why there's criminals who do, you know, import drugs, risk and reward. Like, you know, I think that's kind of the...
When you look at it, when you've got a choice, you can pay $45 per click for AdWords, or you can build an automation tool for 10 or 15 grand. You know, it doesn't take.
Think of it this way: you already know how much you're spending on AdWords. So you don't have to be a business genius to figure out that, hey, it might be worth it to cut the budget down a bit and try this. Pay for it that way. Even if it's short term, you learn something, right? And that's what I think our businesses always come down to: risk and reward. Every one of our decisions actually is about risk and reward. That's what we get paid to do as SEOs. Look at this and say, okay, what's the risk here? What's the reward? And, and be able to take the user into account, take Google. That's why we get the big dough, because, we're guys who are, we're like the brain surgeons of marketing.
It's like the risk and reward of wearing that Maple Leafs jersey in Detroit.
Or that Detroit jersey in Toronto.
Exactly. So there's a certain amount of risk and reward in everything, in every choice.
Yeah. Of course. You're risking a lot more than just, whatever when you wear a Maple Leafs jersey. People have been known to fall down laughing. If you watched the game last night, you know what I'm talking about. 9-2. Lovely, boys. Good waste of 3 hours. Good thing the voice was on. I could watch it between goals. Anyhow, well, we're losing our users are falling off like flies there. I guess we'll end it on that note. Anyhow, watch for the, we'll be back more regular now, folks. We're making some adjustments here. We got a little more busy, and, we're out there trying to go make more money. So,
have a good week, everybody.
Go make lots of money, guys. Bye for now.